Hello, planet Earth. It's Joe Ranieri, director of ImaginativeAction.com, bringing you mind expanding fresh perspectives, creative new angles on life, and personally empowering imaginative information with a cherry on top. All right, tonight's topic, ladies and gentlemen, is quotes about change and change quotes. So, let me just say something about change, and don't shoot the messenger here. But change is inevitable. Change is a fact of life. No matter who you are, no matter where you are, whether you're a king or a bum, if you're going to live, you're going to experience change. The issue or the challenge is in people's reaction or people's resistance to that change, because we tend to like to keep the status quo and hold on to things and keep them the way they are and have equilibrium. It's a kind of catch-22, isn't it? Because we're in this strange situation where the name of the game is constant change. I mean, even the sun will die. Anything in this physical world comes and goes. It's all fleeting. The good news is, even though change is inevitable, the power is within you on how to deal with that change, how you want to interpret things, the meaning that you want to attach to things, the perception that you want to take on, the choice that you make, and how to view things. Now, let's start mentioning a few of some of my favorite quotes about change. The first one is, "The world as we have created it is a process of our thinking. It cannot be changed without changing our thinking." Albert Einstein. Albert is right on the money with this one because he is placing the real cause of this world where it belongs, and that is the mind. The mind is the cause. Our thinking is the cause. The world is the effect. Now you see, most of the time, the way it's traditionally taught, either overtly or covertly, is that it's proposed as the reverse. That is, you are at the effect of the world, so that you and your mind are at the effect of the world. The world is the cause, and you are at the effect. Now, in that case, there's nothing that you could do. You've totally lost your power. It's actually an erroneous position because everything stems from mind. Mind is the cause, the world is the effect. Way to go, Albert Einstein. Now, the next quote about change that I really enjoy is, "When you're finished changing, you're finished." Benjamin Franklin. Okay, so we get the idea here. You're going to be alive. Constant change is what, in one way, keeps you going, and in another way, you have to learn to deal with in a certain way to grow. At least that's my take on Mr. Franklin's quote about change and changing. Now, the third one is, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has." And you'll have to excuse me, I am making sure that I get the quotes exact as opposed to paraphrasing, so you may see me look at some notes on occasion. Okay, again, third one is, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has." That's by Margaret Mead. Margaret Mead was an anthropologist, a researcher, an author, and she's, I believe, right on the money with this one, because the world, again, is the effect of our minds. So if you want things to change, people do it from what is in their mind. And a small group of people with ideas and concepts can actually change the world, and history has shown us this. So, way to go, Margaret Mead. Now, the fourth one out of five, I should say. The fourth one is, you never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. This is by R. Buckminster Fuller. R. Buckminster Fuller. Now, this is great because it's part of the work I do deals with coming from this kind of paradigm or perspective. What is he saying here? Well, the way that I look at this is, for example, you don't keep tweaking with the status quo, right? If you have a tool that's not working and you fiddle with that tool again and again and again and it's still not working, well, at that point, how about creating a whole new tool, take you in a whole other direction? So conceptually, that is what Mr. Fuller is talking about. In order to change, you make the old model obsolete by coming up with a whole new one. This is creating. This is coming from the creative orientation of bringing things into being as opposed to running away from problems. What is it that you want to bring into being? And this is a good position to take when you're going through some change. You focus on, you dream up, you imagine what it is that you want to create outside of all limits, because when you imagine, you're hitting that infinite portion of yourself. So you dream big here. What do you want to create and bring into being? And you do that outside of the limits of logic, because logic will always put you in a small room with locked doors. Logic has its place. Don't get me wrong. We need lots of logic, but it's the overemphasis of logic to the detriment of imagination that I'm talking about here that could be problematic. And Mr. Fuller is embracing the imagination again when he says, you never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. So the fifth and final quote about change is, he who rejects change is the architect of decay. The only human institution which rejects progress is the cemetery. This is by an individual named Harold Wilson. That quote is by Harold Wilson. Okay, so in one way this could sound a little bit negative, but to me it's not really negative. What he's saying is, if you're not, at least the way I interpret it, if you're not changing, you're dead, right? There's no more growth. Life is constant change. Now, those are five. There's a few other ones. There's some that I was going to put in here that are kind of so well known. I left it out. The famous one by Gandhi, be the change that you want to see in the world. Of course, I like that, but, I didn't feel it was necessary to go over in any detail. So, I could do a lot of these, but these are some of my top five lately. What are some of your top five? What do you enjoy as far as quotes about change, quotes about changing, change quotes, whatever you want to call it? Anyhow, guys, hope you enjoyed this. Remember to subscribe, click the links. Till next time, have an imaginative journey. Talk to you guys soon.